Ah, come on. Ow. Ow, my butt. YouTube, what is up? We are back with another day. I just finished up some quick plyos and little sprint series. I just 3XLs, three 30-second ISO lunge holds into a pulse. So I was just pulsing at the bottom and then hit a couple hops, single leg, double leg, and then side-to-side lateral. Just trying to microdose it in, get a little bit of a bounce back. We had our state tournament this past weekend, so I was feeling a little bit stiff. I slid into second. Yeah, I'm the slider. Yeah, I'm the try-hard. Everybody's kind of the try-hard at state, but the base. I slid too close to the base, kind of jammed my ankle a little bit, so I wasn't feeling the best today, but after getting moving, opened up a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't affect the snatches that we got today. We got some snatches and bench. We're gonna a little bit rush today with our workout because Welty was supposed to be here. So if I don't hit my 225 PR, it's because my hype man Welty isn't here. So if you guys could shame him for ditching me in the comments, that'd be great. But we got snatches, bench, hit the plyometric series. Probably gonna have to go to softball after that. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to get the other accessories. Today we're gonna cover the 4 or 5-ish things that lead to injuries. Gonna talk about injuries a little bit. I'm talking about it with no bullshit physio in a comment section right now, and just kind of want to rehash my thoughts there. And then I'm gonna talk about business. Just finished a consult right before this where we were talking about business and how to build long-term customers and long-term business plans and how that pays off much more than these short-term hacks that a lot of people have. So we'll cover those two things with some snatches, with some bench. Let's get it, let's go. So for our warm up, I think we're gonna do some squat, snatch jumps with this. So just keep the bar jumping out of that position. I was looking at my clean jumps from yesterday's video that I just posted. They look gross. So hopefully make them look a little bit more athletic. I only recorded a heavy set of those. Maybe that's why it looks so gross, but even my pull that day, everything that day just was gross, even starting with the jump. So gonna make those look a little bit cleaner. And then I'm gonna do some overhead catch work and progressively get those. And then once we get the snatches, we're probably gonna have to cook a little bit. We don't have a ton of time. We're probably like 30-ish minutes, 40-ish minutes before we gotta go. So kind of rush that a little bit, but get some good work in. Let's go. Just realized I don't think I talked about state at all during a little intro video. I was trying to rush it just a little bit, just so the attention spans of ants got through that part. But batted 750 at state, took fourth. We really choked to go to the undefeated game, to go to the championship game. We were up 13-2. We ended up blowing that game and losing it. Tough loss, but for how our team has been doing this year, we were not seated going in very high. We were struggling, kind of putting the pieces together, being consistent. We put a really solid tournament together. I think we ended up placing, I think it's technically 4th place, but missed our shot to go to the ship, missed our shot to like go and win something. The tournament was up for grabs. We got nationals this week. State nationals, kind of the big tournaments. Then we got like 3 to 4-ish weeks of like fun-ish tournaments. There's some serious tournaments after, and then things are gonna start to calm down. When things start to calm down, I'm gonna get some products on the way. I'm gonna go after the business side of things a little bit more. I know all we got right now is the insider, but finishing up the final pieces on the coaching corner right now that we're building out, which will be like our educational platform that I'm trying to work on and make. I'm gonna do a little trial run with 10 coaches. First 10 coaches will sign up. We'll do a trial run to get it at a significant discount. Probably switch around the consults during that time. So consults is probably like 3 to 4 weeks of consults left. And then we're gonna get to building out an Olympic lift variation of the Building Better Movers series. So those are kind of the things that are on the docket right now, but gonna finish up the softball season. We got nationals this weekend in Iowa. Yeah, like Marin, Iowa or something like that. It'll be a super fun experience. I'm sure there's a lot of sightseeing there. So we head there on Thursday, and hopefully we can make a little run at nationals. If we make a run at nationals, that'd be crazy. Nationals is pretty tough to win, but state was up for grabs. Kind of sucked there, but hopefully we make a run at nationals. Let's get after it. that ankle from sliding into that base is pretty stiff. Pretty not loving that jump aspect of it, but we'll hit a couple more sets of those jumps. That full extension feels a little weak. I slid in and just like the base did not move. I slid a little bit too late. I didn't think that was going to play. So the guy in front of me hit the ball second and he bobbled it, and I thought he was going to go throw to one, and he bobbled it, turned around and tried to throw to two. Safe, of course, dude. Hustle. Look at that. Look at that slide over there. But ankle is feeling that slide. A little bit late. The base did not move. Jammed my ankle in there. Wasn't feeling it at all during game day, but today feeling a little bit sore. So hopefully that doesn't mess up when we get heavy. But we'll see. At least I got a built-in excuse if I do. One more set of those. If you guys want to see something pretty wild, I got into a tiny little bit of Twitter beef with Mike Boyle today. He tweeted out his buddy, one of his strength coaching buddies, or I don't know if he's a head football coach or a strength coach. I don't really know who the dude was. He played offensive tackle in the league. Got arrested on a plane for whipping out his dick and pissing on some old lady. And the dude made a post like, apologies for basically pissing on this lady. I took a sleeping medication, and it's why I was acting that way. I'm like, dude, I've taken 5 grams of mushrooms and hopped on a plane, and never once has it crossed my brain to whip out my dick and pee on somebody. So it's a little bit of a piss poor excuse, but Boyle tweeted out, great accountability there, coach. I know you're a good person. I just thought it was hilarious. Like, Boyle gets mad at me and says, I'm ruining the field and people are ruining the field by arguing and doing memes. But somebody pissing on an old lady is apparently accountability and mental toughness. So we got a little bit of a backwards thought process there. I just thought it was kind of funny. I shouldn't poke the bear. I know that. For my own mental health, I don't want to deal with that. But it was just a little too aggressive. Like, what are we talking about, man? And not like, one, the guy didn't take any accountability. He said, it's because I took this sleeping medication is why I peed on somebody, and everybody else on the plane said he looked drunk. So I don't really know what the situation was or how it happened, but if one of my friends pees on an old lady or my grandma on a plane, probably not gonna sit there and defend that dude. And then come back, Boyle came back and said I was a jerk. I'm like, I don't know if your judge of character is super great if you're defending the person that peed on an old lady and you're mad at a person that just shit talks on Twitter and makes memes. But that's just me. To each their own, I guess. But we're gonna hit these last set of here. I really like those drop catch snatches, overhead squats at the bottom. Feels like I'm finding that overhead position. I definitely have to go wider, which I haven't realized. It's like the pull feels good to be in narrow, but when I'm catching that narrow, it's kind of like stiffening the shoulders, and Kyle keeps telling me to go wider, so maybe he's right. He probably is. He snatches way more than me, so I should probably listen to people that are stronger than me, but these feel kind of cool, so let's get them. Last set here. All right, let's get some snatches. Let's go. This warm-up's actually kind of tiring. I feel like those complexes, you can get a lot done in a short amount of time. Legs feeling good. Feel like I got a good little weighted jump stem in. Obviously not like a full intent jump stem, but I don't think I could do full intent with that Achilles right now anyways. But I'm gonna go 2 sets without yapping, and then I'll explain kind of my thoughts on injuries and the things that I was talking to no bullshit physio about after these 2 sets. Well, let's get some lifting done. Here we go. Almost fell backwards. I'm really trying to catch that in the bottom of the squat. As we get heavier, I'll probably focus a little bit less on that, but I really want to get down low in these warm-up sets. Here we go. All right, last pre-yapping set, then we'll get after our yapping, and then we'll get after our real lifts. Let's go. Oh, man, my mobility sucks in that bottom position. All right, maybe we focused a little bit too much on getting underneath the bar, not enough on actually getting that bar up there. We're gonna get after it next set. Get out of our head, let's go. All right, so pre-snatch yap session here. I made a post today talking about if most of our injuries come from extreme range of motions at high velocities under a lot of force, why don't we train that way, right? And No Bullshit Physio he's pretty against the velocity side of things, and I think it's because some of the stuff looks goofy. I'm a big fan of No Bullshit Physio. He makes some fucking hilarious memes. He was on the podcast. I'd recommend listening to the podcast, recommend following him. Great dude. But one of the things that I realize is we're seeing things from two different realms, right? He is a big soccer guy. He sees a lot of soccer people, and what he sees in the soccer world is crazy training. Soccer world is hopeless almost with strength conditioning. Like they are back in the stone ages. They're still balancing on Bosu balls with like 17 bands wrapped around them while they're kicking a soccer ball as a strength conditioning, right? So that's what he views as like the velocity side or the feminine side of training. And I see why you have a bias to be like against that. Whereas I come from the American football world where it's literally bigger, faster, stronger, squat as much weight as possible, and you'll become a beast football player, right? And I think they're kind of both extremes that are a little bit lies, right? Like you need to have certain aspects of both, the feminine side, the masculine side, whatever, but injuries happen from too much, right? Too much, too soon, too often. Load management's all messed up, right? If you have too much, too soon, too often, you're gonna get hurt, bad things are gonna happen. Your body's not ready for the stimulus that life is demanding on it, right? Again, I talk about this a lot, but if you wanna change that, then you either have to lower the stimulus of life, which is a really hard task to do, and it turns into a very bad self-fulfilling prophecy. It turns into things like saying, don't back squat, don't deadlift, don't pick things up, don't round your spine, and you kind of just turn into a fragile version of yourself. Or it can be level up yourself to meet the demands of life, or hopefully exceed the demands of life. And I don't know if you can always exceed the demands of life, because sometimes life throws some shit at you. Whether it's a 250-pound linebacker, or it's a thing of this black ice that you slip on and you eat shit and you hurt yourself, right? But I think a lot of times in our training, we are missing one of the key components of either not going heavy enough, not going fast enough, not going into enough range of motion, right? And when one of those three things are lacking, and there's a ton of things. Again, load management's a big part of it too, but when you're not training one of those three things and you're demanded to go into one of those three things in sports or in life, injuries or just discomfort are really likely to happen because your body's not used to it, right? So I think we need to train all three qualities. In the American football side, one of the things that I see missing is the extreme range of motion and a lot of the velocity side of things, whether it's with the spine or the ankles. I think ankles, really easy example, like plyometrics in a multitude of different directions. Like even something as simple as like a lateral plyometric is something that not a lot of athletes are doing in their training. And one of the things No Bullshit Physio kind of pushed back on is he's saying a lot of times that's taken care of in sport, but I would argue that point back because a lot of times the athletes are not reaching max velocities in sport. They're not jumping their max. There's so many constraints of the sport that they're not reaching their peak outputs, right? And I think in training, we can reach our peak outputs. We can reach our max lateral hops, right? Or we can do it under a lot of volume and a lot of tension and a lot of velocity when we're training and a lot of different ranges of motion, right? You have all of your 8 vectors. Same thing with some of the stretches or the mobility work that we do. I think we can control a lot of that in our settings and train the extremes there, bring them up in the extremes so when they're demanded to go there in sport in a non-extreme way, they can handle it, right? And I think No Bullshit Physio coming from the soccer side of things sees guys just not lifting at all and they just need to lift, which I totally respect. But I think if you're not lifting at all, like it's a pretty easy fix, and we're not trying to argue those points, right? Like that, everybody knows if you're not lifting, you should lift, and you're gonna have better armor for your sport, right? So, just one of the things on injury prevention, right? Like it's too much, too soon, too often, and I think we can control a lot more of those things. And I think this is why I'm so passionate about doing the things you suck at, because I think that's where your low-hanging fruit is, and I think that's the thing that life's gonna demand out of you that you're not ready. If you're already super strong, I'm not saying don't do strong stuff. Don't lift heavy, don't stop lifting, don't stop sprinting, don't stop jumping. I'm just saying focus on some of the other pieces or just sprinkle them in, right? Like just small pieces, expose your body, get your body used to the demands that they're gonna face, and hopefully, again, bring your demands up in training higher than what the field's going to demand or higher than what life's going to demand to the best of your abilities, right? And when you do those things, and again, I think a lot of times in the sporting world of the American football world, it's the velocity side of things, especially with the ankles and knees and hips. It's like a lot of times we'll do super slow stuff for the ankles, super heavy stuff for the ankles, again, which is great, and it's totally better than nothing. But a lot of times that's already taken care of because they're already going to do calf raises. They're already going to do the tib raises. They're talking themselves into it. Like they're already doing it. One of the things we could do is like a 8-vector hop or a lateral wall hop where you're getting exposed to a little bit of higher velocity in that different angle, right? So that's just my stance on it. I'm not against no bullshit physio. I think we're actually on the same page. We're just seeing it from different lights, right? He's seeing it from the soccer world. I'm seeing it from the football world. And I agree with both points. Soccer world does need to strength train. Football world probably needs to spend a little bit of time in other components, right? And when the soccer world is done doing the feminine side and they all become a bunch of meatheads, they probably need to spend time in these other components. So just kind of thoughts there on injury. The way to prevent injuries, the only way that you can try to prevent injuries is level up your body to the highest demands that you possibly can in all of those regards. Range of motion, velocity, and strength, and manage your workload in the best way that you can. And hopefully life doesn't throw too much at you. All right, let's get this. Ooh, man, that bottom position is feeling goofy. Feeling like I'm falling back, quads are tight. Maybe it's from the travel this weekend, I don't know. But keep ripping, keep sending, let's go. I spent the last 5 minutes looking for the weightlifting belt, and I have no idea where it is in here. I really hope somebody did not steal that. It's kind of like an open space. People can come in and go. They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to come and go, but people do come and go in here, and I cannot find it. But we also just got a new cleaner that cleaned the whole place. So hopefully they put it somewhere else. But we're stuck with the breath belt today. Hopefully that doesn't mess up the lift too much. Let's get it. Oof! Woo! Let's go. All right, so maybe the breath belt's the move because that last set actually felt pretty light, felt pretty good. Maybe we can turn something out of this snatch session. In between, this is the biggest meathead workout of all time. In between these, I'm supersetting these with bench press right now to be able to get them in because we've got about 10 minutes left before I gotta go. So I'll record the last couple sets of bench press and then we gotta go. Here we go. Oh, we got that easy. Owie. Oh, come on. Ah, come on. Ow. Ow, my butt. Ugh. Fuck it, that's it, let's go. Woo. So that kind of sucked. That was like the lightest that had ever, that felt so good and the elbow was just not holding up on that catch at all. It felt really sketchy, but I had to head my way through it. But those first 3 pulls, I was like, holy shit, we could get 225 today. And that was the first time I'd been feeling that elbow again, so gotta work on that catch, but the pull felt so good today. Dang, we were close today. Glad we got that. Let's get, I have to speed run this bench here before we gotta go to softball. But let's rip, let's go. 6 rep max, close grip. Let's go. All right, I'm summoned for a new team tonight, so this has to be our last set. I was hoping to go up way more than this, but this has to be our last set, otherwise I'm gonna be late for the new team, and they're not gonna be super happy with it. They're kind of an official team. So I'm gonna hurry up here. One of the things I was gonna talk about with this bench press, when you do close grip bench press, one of the questions athletes get all the time, or coaches, and they like debate where to put your hands. One of the really cool ways to have like variables in your lift, you can do close grip bench press 17 different ways. So you could do it this far, this far, this far, this far. One of the cool ways you can do that, just change variations with your athletes, is like give them a landmark for their close grip bench press. So today our landmark was just the knurling, right? So one finger has to be touching a knurling as your landmark. You can do it anywhere on the bar, outside knurling, inside knurling, whatever you want to do, but just give them a knurling bench press or a spot on the bar. You can even put a piece of tape there where they have to be touching it, but it's a cool way to get another variation done with the lifts just to spice it up a little bit more, and we don't have to overcomplicate where our close grip bench press is with our athletes. If you're a power lifter, you probably want to be a little bit more specific. With the athletes, you can play around, and we're just trying to get an upper body stimulus done, right? So 6 reps here, then we got to get going. All right, Talk in the car, let's go. All right, so that was a pretty quick day. Got a lot done though. Felt good on those snatches. The pull again felt amazing. Felt like I started with that mobility issue in the hips, and then the last couple pulls it felt really, really good at the bottom, and felt like a good PR day. But that elbow just, God, I don't know, it just keeps giving out. And then I felt like I was like almost scared of it. Like I was scared to catch that without it trying to like snap in half. So we'll work on that. It's a pretty big win, especially after the state tournament. We just just drove back from it yesterday. So little recovery aspect there. I got a good night's sleep last night though. So that was probably helps a little bit why that pull felt really good. First 10 hours of, I think I had 9 hours of sleep last night. So that was pretty amazing for me. Probably 5 more hours than typical. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, I just finished up a consult today. We're kind of talking about long-term business practices. And I get this kind of similar question about like, how do you get people to sign up? Like, should you have like these big funnel pages and basically trying to nickel and dime people? I'm not against funnel pages, but like, how can you upsell people? How can you funnel people? Like, how can you get the smaller sales? And I just brought my car in to get my headlights done today. And I brought my car into the same exact shop for the last like 3 years. And before that, I brought my car into the same shop for like a year and a half, right? And the old shop was there and it's closer to me. I can walk to it. It's a little bit more convenient. It's probably a little bit cheaper. Honestly, it might even be a little bit better work for the most part. One of the times they kind of screwed up the job, but for the most part, it's probably a little bit better work. But the guys there continually like try to upsell me and they try to scam me. They try to like do weird things in sales. And I just got sick of it. It felt gross. They kept trying to like, you should do this, you should do that, you should. And I was like, I don't like that. And I've been going to this other place where it's a little bit farther away. It's probably a little less convenient for me. It's probably a little bit more expensive, but they don't try to upsell me. They just fix my car and they keep me as a long-term customer, right? And I think the same can be said for a lot of our products. When you try to win these small games with people, people feel that. They really do. They feel you nickeling and diming them. They feel you kind of scamming them, kind of getting a lot out of them. And you lose that customer, right? You lose that customer long term. You get that first sale, which is great. And maybe you upsell $15 for the first sale. Maybe you do something with your package where you sign them in for 3 months and you got them for 3 months. I'm not in for that. That's not my game. I don't think that's the right game to play. I think you should play 3-year games with people, 4-year games with people, 30-year games with people. We've had people on the Insider for 6 years, right? Think about the long-term value that 6-year customer brings over a 3-week customer or even a 3-month customer because I made them do the 3-month package, right? So I think that's something just to think about when you're thinking about selling your programs or selling your gym. Play the long-term games. Have a good enough product where people just want to come back. Don't try to nickel and dime them. Be confident in yourself. I think that's probably why people feel like they have to sell a big thing up front because they feel like they can't sell it again. Have enough faith in your product to where you know you can sell it over and over and over again. And don't play the short-term games and you will make a lot more money and create a lot better relationships with the people that you're working with, right? So just something I thought about on this consult is something I was helping people with. Long-term games with long-term people. That's how you get long-term business. You want customers that are going to be with you for a long time, and that's not going to be every customer. I get that. Some customers are just trying your product out. They just want to do it for a month. They just want to in and out. They just want to see what it's about. Whatever that is. That's amazing. You're always going to have those customers, though. But you just don't want to lose the customers that you could have had for your life, right? And I think a lot of people lose those customers by playing short-term games with those customers. They have a scarcity mindset with those customers, and they really kind of scare them off. So long-term games, long-term people, creates a long-term business, and that should be your goal, right? So great day. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I know we just snatched and benched, but I feel productive today. Tomorrow we're gonna hit some deadlifts and a little bit of lower body. Hopefully Welty shows up tomorrow. We'll see what he does. If not, we'll call him out again in the comments and we'll get after it from there. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep chopping wood.